Welcome back to the Nasuverse. This time around, we're tackling Kara no Kyokai / Garden of Sinners, another series under the Typemoon umbrella. After my Witch and a Holy Night playthrough and video, links to that in the description, I wanted to continue my journey through the Nasuverse. So like the fiend that I am, I went to my plug to get my fix. He recommended me several other series, the Garden of Sinners being one of them. I know next to nothing except that this is the Ryogi Shiki one, and that Toko isn't it, so this is 90% blind. Without further ado, let me delay no further. It's been a bit, but let's re-enter the Nasuverse together and dive into the Garden of Sinners.
I'm tired of being stuck up in this matrix, running up in different places, so many faces, too many phases, I'm going through without the truth. I let a lot of time pass without my truth.
Before I continue, I need to give you all some warnings before I proceed. Of course, the titular spoiler warning makes its triumphant return for this video. I can't speak for the novels, but I will be diving into spoilers for the 10 movies I watched. If you don't want to be spoiled, then I'd recommend proceeding with caution. But to get serious here for a moment, I want to give you all a content warning as well. For lack of better words, this series has some mature content. If you're sensitive to sexual violence, gore, and anything of that nature, then watch the show at your own discretion. Like genuinely, some of this stuff had me queasy, man, it's no joke. But anyway, putting that aside, let's begin with a quick synopsis. These movies take place in Japan from 1995 to 1999. Throughout these 4 years, we follow Ryogi Shiki and Migiya Kokuto as they get roped into a series of murders around their city. Kokuto gets involved because he's a detective, while Shiki gets involved because every murder involved magic one way or another. They both work under Toko Aozaki, who is a mage herself. The goal is to find out who's behind these magecraft related murders. We meet a bunch of other characters along the way as we find out how these incidents all trace back to Shiki and Kokuto's faithful encounter in 1995. And that's where I'll leave it for now. Before we move on to my thoughts, let me explain something first. The Garden of Sinners movies are animated adaptations of the Garden of Sinners light novels. Apparently there's one novel that wasn't adapted though. If you know about it, please mention it in the comments. But that aside, each movie varies from 30 minutes to 2 hours in runtime. The series has an overarching main narrative, but each movie is placed at a different point on the timeline. This presents the viewer with a choice. Do you watch the series in release order, or do you watch it chronologically? My plug recommended to me to watch it as it released, and I can see why. Watching it in release order is better for the first time viewers because the movies were made with that in mind. This is also a Nasuverse / Typemoon project, so it's doused in heavy lore. That alone makes it an even tougher watch chronologically. You watch it in chronological order on your second watch, not the first. By then you'll have a better understanding of the story's structure. Plus it's also fun to try and piece together where a movie takes place on a timeline. It's presented like a mystery in and of itself, so understand that for this video I watched it in release order. Also, some of you may be wondering, but isn't Shiki and Tsukihime, how are they here? Or something to that effect. And I understand your confusion, but Ryogi Shiki and Shiki Tono are not the same characters. They are two separate characters with ocular powers that have very distinct differences. I haven't played Tsukihime, so I can't explain any more than that, but keep this in mind going forward. Garden of Sinners is a 7 out of 10 for me. I enjoyed my time with this series, but I wouldn't say it's my favorite Typemoon project. I would say that goes to either Lord Elmaloy Case Files or Witch on a Holy Night, but I could see why someone would say it is. Let's start with the story. Like I mentioned, each movie has its own story, so each one varies in quality depending on who you ask. But overall, I'd say that the series as a whole is consistent. While I didn't enjoy movies 6 and 10 as much as the others, I loved 2, 4, 7, 8, and 9. Each movie had its own mystery with all of them involving magecraft. This made the mysteries darker because of the nature of magecraft in this world. The antagonists themselves also served as good foils for Kokuto and Shiki, allowing them to grow as characters. Antagonists like Arya, Fujino, and Ryo were good standouts. Moving on to the animation, I enjoyed it, but I can see why someone wouldn't. The movies were made in the late 2000s through the early 2010s, so they're kinda dated, but it's ufotable animating them, so they're not bad by any means. Movie 9 and 10 though is where the animation changes dramatically. This is where you get the signature, quote, ufotable when they animate Typemoon projects, end quote, style that they use. Projects like Heaven's Feel, the Mihoyo movie, and Tsukihime's promotional videos have this style. My favorite example of amazing animation though is movie 8. I'll talk more about this in a bit. Next is the music. Forgive me if I'm pronouncing this name wrong, but Yuki Kajiura is the head behind this one, and honestly, it's really good. Typemoon usually cooks with the OSTs, and this one's no different. The dialogue and the lore could get confusing for me at times. The movies definitely expect some effort from the viewer to understand the topics and the events. It's not like they leave you out to dry, but but it can get confusing if you're not paying attention. It could just be that I'm dumber than a pile of bricks though, but I had the same problems with Mihoyo. It's a nitpick though, so don't mind it. As is tradition, it's time to talk about the characters. I mentioned earlier how the antagonists are pretty good, but I'd be remiss to not mention other characters. Toko is a good mentor figure for Shiki and Kokoto, especially in contrast to her appearance in Mihoyo. We get to see more of what it's like to be on her side. Tomoe was a very sad but impactful character, making his movie one of the best ones, to be honest. Asuka is, she's interesting. I'd like her more if she didn't have a brother complex, but barring that, she's alright. By extension, we have Asuka's friend Shizune, and she's such a sweetheart. I love her so much. Mana and Mitsuru were my favorites though. Their chemistry together is so cute. I want to see them in their own story. Point is, these side characters are enjoyable and contribute to the story in their own way. But this story wouldn't work without the main duo, Ryogi Shiki and Mikiya Kokoto. These two in a relationship is the crux of the story, even intersecting with the mystery. They make and enhance the story with their presence. But most of all, these two are so cute. And they get even cuter when you find out that Mana is their child. Which in retrospect, you watch movie 2 and think, why would they be together? Shiki tried to kill Kokoto. But that's where the rest of the movies come into play. They help build the chemistry and the connection these two have. Let me turn your attention back to movie 8, the epilogue for the story that serves as a character analysis for Kokoto and Shiki. Wholeheartedly, it's my favorite movie out of the bunch. The atmosphere of a serene winter night is beautiful. The animation on top of that is also beautiful. The two come together to make an amazing backdrop for this movie. The movie talks about the dynamic between male Shiki, female Shiki, her mystic eyes, and how they were born from her connection to the root. Point is though, this movie is the reason why I like these two. It illustrates how unlikely of a couple these two are. We see it throughout all the movies, the struggles and the pain they've suffered together and for each other. But this movie is the culmination of all of that. A girl who is far from normal, and a guy who is so normal, he ends up not being normal at all. A girl intrinsically tied to death, and a guy who cherishes life. Those two are the best written characters in this series. Off of that merit alone, I can recommend this series to people, be it their first in the Nasuverse or the most recent. Anyways, hope y'all enjoyed this video. We're back to making videos shorter than 20 minutes. Again, I'm almost done with Steins Gate, so expect that final stream, final 2 streams, whichever comes first, to come out soon. Let me know what you all think about Garden of Sinners. How do you like the novels in comparison to the movies? What Nasuverse project should I check out next? Stuff like that. Also want to thank you all and welcome new viewers from the Kagurabachi video. I'm thankful and grateful you all enjoyed it. More content on the way as always, so stay tuned. But until then, I'll see you all in the next video. Peace.
For ideas on what to eat for breakfast, just come to Publix. We got the freaking bran flakes. Bold new taste. Bran flakes.